Let's get started. Barbie is living her best life, but when she starts to notice unexplainable changes in her world, it becomes clear that the only place to get answers is in our world. With her friend Ken tagging along for the journey, Barbie tries to reconcile what she believes about her life versus the real world outside of Barbie Land. Rebecca, talk to me about why you chose this movie.
I chose this movie because everyone won't stop talking about this movie. From the first moment Margot Robbie was announced as the Barbie, Greta Gerwig was announced as the director, Ryan Gosling was announced as Ken, everything kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Everything just created this excitement that threatened to take over the box office. And I was really curious to see how this was going to turn out. I've never been the biggest Barbie fan.
No, you're lying.
I watched a few of the movies growing up. I had some Barbie dolls. I found other toys more exciting for me. But the culture around Barbie is still one that's very effective around how we see ourselves in terms of roles and societal expectations. So I wanted to see how that's going to translate to a movie, especially when Gerwig promised kind of a postmodern glimpse of Barbie. This movie was marketed literally with a tagline of, if you like Barbie, this movie's for you. If you don't like Barbie, this movie's still for you.
So in other words, everybody should love this movie.
Everyone and every Barbie should love this movie.
Well, and I laugh because you're saying I wasn't a big Barbie fan. However, you did have a blue-haired alternate Barbie doll, not necessarily from Mattel, but you had dolls. You had a dream house.
I did. I was very lucky.
I remember you actually painted your dream house different colors. I think it had pink and green, and somehow it came out blue and some other color.
I literally took some nail polish and painted the dream house because I figured that would work the best.
Well, and it's funny too because I grew up loving Barbies. I wasn't an overly fluffy girl, but I had a dream house. My grandmother bought me the dream house, the big jumbo one my parents were trying to figure out what in the world to do with. And I played with Barbie. So when the Barbie movie was announced, I actually was excited. And the look, that's exciting.
You were so much more excited than I was.
And part of why I was excited because Margaret Robbie, or Robbie, as she's also known as, she's a wonderful actress and she feels like Barbie. Her energy, her excitement, her enthusiasm. I thought this could be great. And then, as we talked about, Greta Gerwig is the director. She did Lady Bird, loved Lady Bird.
You love Lady Bird.
I love, your dad and I actually both loved
I love Saoirse. Saoirse was really good in that movie.
Well, and Little Women, you liked Little Women.
Yes, I love Little Women. That was an excellent adaptation. I love Greta's film, Frances Ha. That's probably still my favorite film of hers.
Correct. So it had the and Margaret Robbie's production company had a big hand in this.
Yes, that's correct.
The script, we hadn't seen the script, but I was curious in terms of how can you make a Barbie movie that's relatable to, like you said, everyone, right? If you love Barbie, if you don't love Barbie. When we went to see the movie, it's just like a sea of pink.
And this is on a Monday night. Middle
Evening.
of summer.
Yes.
Nothing going on. And the theater is packed. Even today, when we went to go see Haunted Mansion, the theater is still packed. It's still a sea of pink.
It was. And it was hilarious, right? Because we're walking in, people are wearing pink. And you know where they're going. They're not coming to see Haunted Mansion. They're walking in to see Barbie. So I was curious, and Ryan Gosling is Ken, a very tanned and buffed Ken. He looked like a doll to me I'm like, wow, that's like a spray-on tan. And so you just go, how could this go right? But how could this go wrong? Well, I think it had the potential to go a little off the rails crazy. But to me, I was excited about it. Mm-hmm. And it really was an energetic, fun movie and much deeper than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I was really excited to see Noah Baraka as Greta's writing partner for this film. Noah and Greta have been together many number of years. Sure. They've also worked on a couple other films, and I particularly enjoy Noah's writing. So I was really curious to see how they would take Barbie in a post-Lego movie world.
Oh, that's an interesting phrase. Instead of a postmodern phrase, it's a post-Lego world. I guess when you're looking at toys, it's, we mark them according to Hot Wheels. It's like a post-Hot Wheel world or something. That was funny. And I appreciated the movie was well cast in my mind.
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
I totally agree. It was really cool seeing all these different actors and actresses in these little bit Barbie parts that I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so and so. It was really cool to see like Barbie's history really spotlighted in this film.
Well, and that's a great point because there is a lot of history and trivia. Everything is pink. Truly, everything is pink,
and everything's fair game too. They even have Magic Earring Ken show up as a cameo.
Well, and I think that's the part that was hilarious because the detailing was hilarious. So instead of LAX, they were at BAX, right? Barbie, International Airport. There's bees everywhere on the carpet, and it just and everyone's Barbie.
Everyone,
right? You think about
except for
for the Kens.
Yes.
Well, there's Midge. Oh, there's Midge.
The infamous Midge.
The infamous Midge, and you know the story of Midge, right?
Yes, I'd heard the story, and then
let's tell our cinema community. Let's talk about the story of Midge doll.
So Midge was one of Barbie's friends, and in the early 2000s, they had introduced a pregnant Midge.
With a detractable baby. Apparently, the baby comes out and,
I don't remember this. This is one of the few things that it's escaped my memory on this.
Well, I guess that would be in your time. I'm thinking that's beyond my time. I wasn't,
The only Midge I remember is the one that you got me with just the bathing suit. That's the only one I remember.
Okay. Well, I would have been happy to buy you the pregnant Midge because, hey, that's a reality of life. But they had her, and there, of course, was the commentary that she's pregnant, and she was her neighbor. She wasn't in the dream house. She was off to the side, and they would be like, oh, hi, Midge. And then, so it was making a comment about that there was a story about that. Everybody else was Barbie. There was a President Barbie.
Mm-hmm, that's correct.
Kate McKinnon played the weird Barbie.
I loved Kate McKinnon. She was great in
that's
this.
A whole story of a weird Barbie. There's a Dr. Barbie, Writer Barbie, right? Judge Barbie, and then the Kens. Everyone's a Ken. Except for Alan, everything.
Yeah,
and then Alan, who's Midge's husband back in the day.
Well, yeah, and so I think that was kind of winked and nodded to, but it was kind of interesting.
And I loved it because there was all the Kens and stereotypical Ken or beach Ken, tourist Ken. Oh, Ken made like a mermaid.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
John
right?
Cena
does merman. I'm sorry, merman.
John Cena
Ken.
does a really fantastic job as Merman Ken.
And then there's Sugar Daddy Ken.
Oh gosh, yeah, that was weird.
In some of these you can see how they didn't quite make it to prime time.
No.
However, I would say the costuming was fabulous. The set design was so fun.
It didn't feel overwhelming. That was the big thing I was concerned about. For a movie that caused a global shortage on the color pink that they were using.
Wow.
Yeah, no,
Holy
it was
moly.
Big. I was kind of worried that they were just throwing in some gimmicks. So people were like, okay, let's just see how this goes. But you want to talk committed to the bit?
Committed to the bit.
Everyone is committed to the bit in this movie. And I want to spotlight Ryan Gosling as being particularly committed to the bit.
Oh, and here's the thing. The movie had energy to it. And obviously the audience, right? I mean, people, and there are men in this movie. So it's not sea of pink women. There are men, there are teenagers, people my age, people your age.
There's a wide variety of emotional range discussed in this movie. It's not particularly, this is only Barbie's world. The Kens get talked about too. And
the Kens have a role.
They're very active in this movie.
They're very active. You see the movie, you will know exactly what Rebecca is talking about. We will do no spoilers, but they are active in this role. That's hilarious. That's true.
Well, we get a little bit in the trailer. They're doing the dance number. The dance number was really well. There's all these little callbacks. I know the big one that's been discussed has been the 2001 Space Odyssey, but there's all these other little moments that are just so much fun.
Well, and you're not a Barbie fan particularly. No. You had fun.
I did have fun.
Yeah, it's the summer movie, which I understand that.
This movie is clearing Oppenheimer at the box office right now. They're almost neck and neck in certain ways, but there is definitely a noticeable gap.
Well, but let's talk about it. It was a fun summer movie, but it was more serious at parts. There were actually some very serious discussions and existential crisis.
Existential crisis.
Existential, yes, exactly. Ken's enough. We've learned this from the clothing that is being sold on his behalf.
I think the thing that I was really pleasantly surprised was that they went there.
They
didn't have to go there.
They did not.
But they went there. And I'm really happy they took that risk. Because here's Barbie. Here's something that most people have really positive memories of that kind of falls in line with a certain vision that you're like, you could do anything.
Well, that's the goal, correct? Judge, lawyer, president, astronaut.
But you can make this really fluffy Barbie movie, pun not intended.
Correct.
You can make this really fluffy Barbie movie and coast on that. And everybody would be like, oh, cool, it's going to make a bunch of money. But Gerwig goes, no, I want to use this to talk about something. And I think it's really interesting to see so many people come out of the theater and say, this movie resonated with me in a way another film might not have.
And I heard that from multiple people that I spoke with after seeing the movie. And that was what I heard most often was that movie spoke for me, or that's how I felt, or one of the best comments I heard was from someone who said, I felt heard.
Yes.
And honestly, as a woman, I heard so many different things just for myself. And I'm like, I've heard that before. Someone has said that to me. Oh my goodness. It's Greta's reading my mail as I was growing up. So many of these things as a woman I've heard.
Well, even from a more masculine perspective,
Correct.
there were still points of view demonstrated
Yes.
that we might not necessarily hear in a mass media franchise.
That's true. It's taking a risk. This is as you said, this is a sacred icon. People are very attached to their Barbies or their memories of Barbies as they may be. And to actually take this further and to say, what would it be like if? Mm-hmm. And the only thought we would say around that is, if Barbie were to leave Barbie Land, what would that look like? How would that be received from the rest of the world? How would she change?
And I like that it's a bit more mature. This movie got a PG-13
That
rating.
is correct. It is PG.
But to me, it's a very hard PG-13. There's some intense stuff talked about from an emotional perspective.
Correct.
That I think a more mature audience would appreciate and understand, instead of just not losing the plot per se, but losing the ability for it to impact the audience.
Well, and there are some innuendos. Language was creatively masked, I would say, on one situation. So I think that's the part where it was a clean movie, if you will, not a lot of, F-bombs and,
But
things.
if you're a parent and you bring a younger kid to this, you're definitely going to have to be doing some explaining.
Oh, some huge discussions. So I think truly understanding the PG-13 rating, not all Barbie fans are mature enough to hear or to receive or to have discussions. So do we have any questions from the box?
Teresa, you mentioned you were surprised at the depth of the dialogue of this movie. Do you think this added or detracted from the movie?
I think it added to the movie. And I think there's a lot of goodwill with Barbie. And I also think, as you said, it can be considered fluffy. So the fact that it added greater depth, I think, it made the movie more enjoyable for me. Because had it just been a fun movie with a lot of fluff, I don't think I would be as enthusiastic about it. And I think I actually would have been disappointed based on the actor, the director, the writing. I think I would have been disappointed had they taken the Barbie movie and just made it fluffy. I can't think of another word.
I agree. I think that it would have been almost a disservice to the creative team had they not taken the risk. And I want to hear from our cinema community too. I want you to comment below. Do you think this should have been lighter? Do you think they should have gone heavier? Or do you think it's actually pretty good the way that it is right now?
Rebecca, on a scale 1 to 5, the moths are back, the moths are back. 1 to 5. Where do your moths land this week?
My moths are landing at a 3.5.
Wow. Okay. So what's your number one reason that it's a 3.5?
There's some things that didn't land for me as well as I think they could have landed. And I think the movie kind of lost something in that.
Okay. I would give it actually a 4 moths. I actually kind of lean toward a 4.5, but I would say it's a solid 4 for me because of the acting. The directing was really great. And it was a mix of a lot of different things. And I think first of all, take Barbie along with taking Barbie and having humor and having music. It hit all of the right notes. So I would say it's a solid 4.
Thank you for watching this Cocoon cast clip. This clip is taken from our weekly show, which airs on Saturdays.
If you enjoyed this video, you might click on the link or head over to our main movie channel and watch the entire video for more movie goodness. Thanks for watching, and remember, movies are better together.